the claim that if we had a khilafah, Gaza would not be happening. I politely say this broad statement without any caveats, without any conditions, I have to say I disagree with. And I am a student of history. I'm not an expert. I'm a minor student of history. I read history. I love reading history, especially Andalusian history. I'm doing a deep dive right now about Islam in Andalusia. I humbly state my opinion, and that is, whoever says so, I don't think they have really studied Islamic history that well. They seem to have a very romanticized notion of the past. Khilafas, to claim that if we had a khilafah, Gaza would not be happening, there are at least two conditions that come to mind. More than two, but at least two. Number one, if we had a pious and righteous khalifa. Number two, who had military and political strength in the globe. Then perhaps Gaza would not be happening. Okay, now let's deconstruct this sentiment or this sentence. Politics corrupts the soul. Whether you're Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, Kafir, atheist, power corrupts the soul, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. All you need to do is to look at any book of history about political intrigue. In fact, even the average Muslim is aware of the, let's just say, problems that happened in early Islam. The civil wars that took place. Righteous people went to war over power. All people are aware, even in the first generation, Mecca and Medina were attacked. The grandson of the Prophet ﷺ was brutally massacred. And what a lot of people don't know, Ibn Taymiyyah says, the injustices of that person, Yazid, and others of that generation, were no more or less than the injustices of later Khulafa. But the only thing was, he did it upon the sons of the Sahaba. And it made it so much worse. Now pause here. What is Ibn Taymiyyah saying? Ibn Taymiyyah, who really is a historian, Ibn Taymiyyah is saying, in reality, the dhulm of those guys is the same as the dhulm of all the other khulafa. It's nothing new. But they did it against a group of people that are extra special. What does that tell us? We have this idealized notion of the past, as if all the khulafa were malaika on earth. And when you read history, you understand that is not the case. You understand that people are humans. And when you're in power, you have ultimate authority to do as you please. So the reality is that this notion of a khilafah itself bringing about peace, you are presuming that the khalifa is a God-fearing person. And the fact of the matter, this is a bit harsh to say, but read the books of history. It is the exception rather than the rule to find an Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. That's why he is so famous. It's the exception rather than the rule to have the Khulafa al-Rashidun. That's why they're so beloved. These are the exceptions. Once you understand this, and I'm reading Andalusian history, I will tell you factually, the majority of armies and battles that took place in Andalusian Islam were between Muslims fighting for power. I will defend this, and I challenge anybody to find this issue problematic historically. The majority of khulafa and rulers were fighting each other for 700 years. That's one of the main reasons they could be kicked out. When you are in power, the intrigue that occurs, the civil wars that occur, the insurrections that occur, brothers fighting brothers. Go read history. What happened? So this notion that if we had a khilafah, everything would be fine, I politely say, I just don't agree with this. Also, there is an assumption that the khilafah will be superpower. No. When the Muslims were being massacred in Andalus, they wrote a letter to the Khalifa, Ottoman Khalifa. They begged him, we're being killed in the thousands. They begged him, we need Islam to be saved. And the Khalifa did nothing. Not that he was a coward, but he realized, I can't take on the Spanish Empire. 16th century, the Spanish Empire is becoming a superpower. The Khilafah is already stretched thin, fighting wars in the Balkans, wars amongst Greece, wars here and there. They realized, you know what, we can't take on the Spanish Empire. They did nothing militarily, and 100,000 plus Muslims were expelled, tens of thousands were killed, children were taken hostage and Christianized. Nothing could be done. So this romanticized notion, if we had a khilafah, this would not be happening. I'm sorry, I've said this bluntly before. We lost Al-Aqsa under a Khilafah, the Crusades, and we regained it in spite of the Khilafah. Salah ad-Din Ayyubi did not operate from the paradigm of the Khilafah. He actually operated as a separate state. He broke away essentially, and he did what he did outside of the realm of the Khilafah. So this simplistic notion, if we had, then I humbly say, unconditionally no. Add some conditions, and then the awkward reality comes. How are you going to ensure that the Khalifa is going to be pious? So many leaders might themselves be pious, but because they're not powerful, they can do nothing. Look around you, there might be some good people in the modern last 10 years. They've come to power and office in various countries. I can't mention them. But they're too innocent, they're too pure, whatever it might be. Their own people revolt against them. Their own people put them in jail, kill them, assassinate them, hang them. This is the reality. Do you think if we had a khilafah it would be any different? People are people. Just because you call it a khilafah is not going to change raw power. Also, a khilafah without military might, political might, is impotent. So what if you establish a khilafah on an island, everybody's pure there? You have to become a superpower, and you do not become a superpower simply by words. We are a khilafah. Superpowers, economic weight, military might, strength, strategy, GDP. So these are words. If we had a khilafah, utmost respect, no, I don't agree with this simplistic notion in this regard.